All right. Are you one of those runners that likes to put on your shoes when the sun comes out in the spring and then you get injured? You run 3 or 4 times and you start feeling in your calves, around your knees, and your hips, the bottom of your feet. Something just doesn't feel right and the pain's getting worse and you just give up. And you give it another shot in the autumn after the summer and the same thing happens. It happens to a lot of people. Why is it? Why is it that so many runners get injured at the beginning? If you look at running compared to other sports, the injury rate is through the roof. I think it's something like 60% of runners get injured first year. Compare that to any other sport, it's crazy. And I'll tell you why. Well, there's loads and loads and loads of different reasons why you can get injured when you start running. Even though human beings are born to run, that is essentially one of the things we're supposed to be able to do, and we feel really good as a result of running. And our bodies are very much built to run and walk. But why is it then that so many of us get injured when we start running? Well, like I said, there's a multitude of different reasons, but I'm going to choose 3 that I think are relevant to a lot of people out there, maybe even including you. And then I'm going to give you 5 concrete tips to try and avoid running injuries as best as possible. Right, so I think one of the main reasons people get injured at the start of running is because they run inconsistently. They run when the sun's out, when it's warm, when the weather's nice, and then they go into hibernation in the winter. So about half the year they're jogging and half the year they're not. And some of those people are working out, strength training in the gym, brilliant, but most aren't. And if we go out running 6 months of the year and then stop for 6 months of the year, that's not optimal for the body, because it's getting used to doing something and then it stops doing that, and then it all of a sudden starts doing that, and we're pretty good at thinking, well, probably where I was when I left off last year when it was nice and warm outside, so I'll just keep running at that pace, and yeah, that doesn't work out too well. The second reason, I think, is that we go out too hard too soon. So we want to get that feeling of like, oh, I just had a big sesh, or I did a lot of sweating, I was huffing and puffing, that was tough, that must be a really good workout for me. I mean, it is a really good workout for your cardio system, but are your muscles and your tendons and your feet and your knees and everything else, are they also thinking that was an awesome way to start your running career? We're a little bit impatient, we want results very quickly, so we put on our running shoes, the first sign of a spring day, we go out there and we smash it, and we usually run too fast or too long for too far of a distance, and that's something that you need to gradually build up both distance and speed over a long time. And I mean, when you start running, think about the first 6 months as an introduction to running. You want to be starting with walk running intervals, you want to be running in zone 2, a nice calm controlled pace most of the time, and then you want to be increasing no more than 10%, whether it be distance or speed each week, and be patient. That is a major, if not the largest reason for running injuries that I've come across, at least, is that people go out too hard, too soon, are impatient, and inevitably they break, and that's just that's avoidable. And the final reason I think a lot of people get injured is, to put it frankly, your ass, inner thigh, and your hips are too weak. You don't have the sufficient strength in them, especially if you're sitting in an office job like I have been for the last 17 years. If you're sitting at a desk in front of a computer and your muscles, your hamstrings, everything's in a not very humane state most of the day, it's not optimal for our bodies, and then all of a sudden we leave the office and we put on our running shoes and we just we pound pavement, or we go out in the woods and just start smashing trails. Well, that's not going to hold up. And when we run, we become very strong in a certain set of muscles, but there's a lot of other muscles that don't really get trained in the way that they need to be for long-term sustainability for the body. So we need to be training inner thighs, we need to be training the butt muscles, and the hips, and there are loads of different ways to do that, but that's really, really important, really, really key. So those are the three things that I think are main reasons for people getting injured when they start running, is that they run intermittently and take huge breaks during the year. When they do start running, they go out too hard, too fast, and they don't have sufficient strength in hips, inner thighs, and the butt. So work those muscles. And 5 concrete tips then. I'll be quick. Number 1, be patient. Let it take its time. Don't increase by more than 10%, whether it be distance or speed. Run throughout the entire year. Maybe you want to run more in the spring or in the summer and a little bit less in the winter, that's fine. But try and make sure that the routine of running goes throughout the whole calendar year. Do relevant strength training at least once a week, preferably twice a week. Vary your training, don't just run. This is a really, really good tip. A lot of runners love running, and that's what they do. They run. But it's really great if you can go swimming or do some biking or do long walks or do some strength training or gymnastics or dance or whatever else it be. But vary your training. Don't just do the same repetitive motion day in, day out. And finally, final point, I'm sitting out, gorgeous nature in the woods. Make sure that you don't just run on asphalt all the time. You can do it sometimes if you love it. I used to love it, but don't run on asphalt or treadmills all the time. Choose other running surfaces, such as trails in the woods. Maybe you want to run on the beach, you want to run on grass. Make sure that you're doing that as well, not just running on pavement, because in the end, the strain of running on pavement week in, week out is pretty immense. So I hope you found that useful. I hope you found the tips interesting, and go out and train those butts, inner thighs, hips, and remember to be patient and enjoy your running. See you next time. Bye.